Ethan woke before sunrise the next day. The sky was painted with soft hues of pink and orange, and the air was crisp with the scent of the forest. He moved quietly, careful not to disturb the peace of the morning. Today he felt a sense of excitement and nervousness he had never felt before. He was going to the creek not just to watch but to communicate more clearly with the alien who had so captivated his thoughts. By the time he reached the creek, the water shimmered under the early sunlight. The alien was already there, stepping lightly through the shallow water, her luminous skin reflecting the soft morning light. She noticed him instantly, her large silver eyes locking onto his. She did not move away, did not hide. Instead, she raised her hand slightly, a greeting that had become their routine. Ethan responded in kind, feeling a warm sense of connection that went beyond words. Over the next few hours, he introduced new objects and activities. He brought a small solar-powered light device, fascinated to see if she could understand its purpose. She touched it gently, exploring with her delicate fingers, and when it lit up, her eyes widened. She let out a soft hum, a sound that Ethan had come to recognize as her way of expressing curiosity and joy. He laughed softly, realizing that even across species, some expressions were universal. Ethan began to notice patterns in her behavior. She was curious, playful, and intelligent, but she also had moments of caution, like a predator aware of potential danger. Her movements were graceful and calculated. She seemed to study not only the objects he brought but also his reactions. It was as if she was trying to understand humans as much as he was trying to understand her. Days passed and their interactions grew bolder. Ethan realized he wanted to learn more about her world, where she came from and why she had been alone in the forest. One afternoon, as he sketched a drawing of the forest on a large piece of paper, she reached out and traced over his lines with her finger. The patterns she created were different, intricate, and somehow beautiful. Ethan watched in awe, realizing that her species had an artistic sense he had never imagined. Their quiet mornings, however, were not to last. Rumors spread through the nearby human colony about unusual sightings in the forest. A few curious and cautious humans began to patrol the area, hoping to confirm the rumors. Ethan knew that if anyone discovered the alien without understanding, fear and suspicion would take over. He felt a sense of urgency. He had to protect her while still building their trust. One evening, he arrived at the creek to find her waiting as usual. But this time she seemed tense. Her eyes scanned the trees, ears, or whatever functioned as ears, twitching at every sound. Ethan followed her gaze and saw human figures moving carefully through the forest, approaching the creek. He knew he had to act fast. He stepped out from the bushes, calling softly, "Wait, don't hurt her, she's not dangerous." The humans froze, confused by his sudden appearance. The alien, sensing danger, moved closer to him. Ethan raised his hands in a gesture of protection, hoping the humans would understand. "What is it?" one of the colony members demanded. "An alien here?" Ethan took a deep breath. "Yes, but she is intelligent." "She's not a threat. She's capable of understanding." The humans looked skeptical. Ethan knew words alone would not convince them. He turned to the alien and motioned for her to demonstrate. She hesitated, then stepped into the shallow water. Using her hands and movements, she manipulated the water, creating patterns and symbols that reflected the objects Ethan had shown her over the past days. The humans watched in silence, realizing that what they had feared was not a mindless creature, but an intelligent being capable of learning and communication. Slowly, the tension eased. Some humans lowered their weapons, eyes wide in wonder. Ethan felt a surge of relief. He knew the alien was aware of what had happened, and he could see her expression soften. She looked at him with trust, and in that moment, Ethan understood that they had formed a bond stronger than fear or misunderstanding. Over the next week, Ethan worked carefully to integrate her presence into the human colony without causing panic. He taught her simple gestures that humans could understand and used the same gestures himself to communicate her intentions. The alien adapted quickly, her movements precise, her eyes reflecting intelligence and emotion. The humans began to accept her, not as a threat but as a being worthy of respect and attention. Ethan discovered more about her abilities each day. She could sense subtle changes in the environment, detect minute differences in temperature, and even anticipate minor events, like a branch falling or a fish leaping from the creek. Her awareness of the natural world was extraordinary, and Ethan realized that humans had much to learn from her species. She, in turn, seemed fascinated by human ingenuity, the tools, the structures, and the way they could manipulate the environment. As their friendship deepened, Ethan noticed changes within himself. He no longer saw the forest as a simple place of exploration. It was a living network, full of connections he had never understood before. The alien taught him patience, observation, and the joy of curiosity. He began to notice the tiniest details, the shimmer of dew on leaves, the patterns in the rocks, the movement of small creatures in the underbrush. Life became richer, fuller, and infinitely more fascinating. One evening, as the sun dipped low, casting golden light across the creek, the alien made a sound, a soft hum that Ethan had not heard before. It was longer, melodic, almost like a song. He responded with a matching hum, and she tilted her head, eyes wide. Then, to his amazement, she began to move in patterns that mimicked human dance. Ethan joined her, trying to mirror her motions, laughing as he stumbled and tried to keep up. She hummed in delight, and for a moment, it felt as if language was unnecessary. Their emotions, their joy, and their understanding transcended words. It was in that moment that Ethan realized the true depth of their connection. She was not just an alien. She was a mind capable of emotion, curiosity, and even playfulness. And she had chosen him as a companion, as a friend, perhaps even as a teacher in this strange human world. He felt a warmth in his chest, a realization that humans were capable of forming bonds far beyond what they had imagined. However, the peace was fragile. News of their friendship spread, and not all humans were ready to accept it. A group of colonists, fearful and skeptical, approached the creek with tools and weapons, intending to capture or drive her away. Ethan stood in front of her, raising his hands. He knew he had to act quickly. "Wait," he shouted. "She's not dangerous. You have to see. She's intelligent. She can communicate. She can understand." The alien stepped forward, raising her hands to create patterns in the water. Symbols formed, reflecting the lessons Ethan had taught her. The human stared, silent, realizing for the first time that she was capable of understanding and interaction. Slowly, the tension began to lift. Some lowered their weapons, awe replacing fear. Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of relief. She had trusted him, and now they had all begun to see what he had known from the start. In the following days, Ethan introduced the alien to controlled parts of the colony. She observed human activities, learning quickly. She touched tools, examined machinery, and responded to gestures with precision. Humans began to understand that fear was unnecessary, that this being was capable of learning, emotion, and trust. The bond between Ethan and the alien deepened further. She began to mimic his movements more accurately, respond to his gestures with subtle cues, and even initiate interactions herself. Ethan realized that their connection had grown beyond curiosity. It was now a partnership built on mutual respect and understanding. One quiet afternoon, Ethan and the alien sat by the creek, sharing a moment of stillness. The sunlight danced on the water, and the forest seemed to hold its breath. She reached out, touching his hand lightly, a gesture that carried trust, friendship, and an unspoken promise of protection. Ethan felt a surge of emotion. He understood that they had found something rare and precious, a bridge between worlds, a connection that transcended species. Ethan's life had changed completely. The creek was no longer just a place behind his house. It was a gateway to understanding, friendship, and discovery. The alien had shown him that intelligence and emotion were not exclusive to humans. She had shown him that curiosity, courage, and empathy could create bonds stronger than fear or suspicion. By the end of the week, Ethan felt a deep sense of hope. He looked at the alien, her face radiant with curiosity and trust, and knew that humanity's future could be brighter than they had ever imagined. If humans could learn to see beyond fear, to understand and connect with other beings, the universe would hold endless possibilities. As the sun set, casting warm light across the forest, Ethan and the alien sat together in the quiet of the creek. They shared gestures, patterns in the sand, and soft hums, communicating in ways humans could not have anticipated. In that moment, the human and the alien were equals, friends and companions. Their story, Ethan realized, was just beginning. Together, they had discovered that connection was the greatest adventure of all, a journey not through space, but through understanding, trust, and the unspoken bond of curiosity. The forest around them was alive, and so were they. In the quiet of the creek, amidst the shimmer of water, Ethan woke the next morning to the soft hum of Zarathia's twin sons filtering through his small window. His body ached from the previous day's exertion, yet his mind was alive with curiosity and quiet anticipation. The events of yesterday felt almost unreal. He had saved an alien woman, carried her through treacherous terrain, and earned the gratitude of Kalen Varix, one of the wealthiest and most influential beings in the galaxy. Even now, he found it difficult to believe that a human teen like himself could have such an impact. He walked to the colony courtyard, where the gentle chatter of other humans and aliens created a calm rhythm. The memory of Liara's glowing skin, the weight of her body in his arms, and the life she carried within her stayed with him. He realized how fragile and precious life could be, no matter the species. As he wandered, a sleek transport landed near the edge of the courtyard. Ethan froze when he saw Kalen stepping out. His golden eyes scanned the crowd, and then, with a slight nod, they met Ethan's gaze. Kalen's presence was commanding, yet there was an unfamiliar softness to his demeanor. He approached Ethan with measured steps, flanked by his aides and security detail who moved with silent precision. "Ethan Miller," Kalen said, his voice calm but tinged with emotion. "I have been thinking about your request." Ethan shifted slightly, unsure how to respond. "Sir, I didn't mean to." Kalen held up a hand. "No, you don't understand. You asked me to do something for humans, not for yourself. You reminded me that bravery and kindness are more valuable than any amount of wealth or influence." He paused, studying Ethan carefully. "You've shown me that the galaxy underestimates humans, and that is a mistake I intend to correct." The conversation was interrupted by a soft sound. Ethan looked behind him to see Liara emerging from a nearby building, her steps cautious but confident. She had recovered quickly, her belly round and healthy, her wings stretched slightly, catching the sunlight and shimmering beautifully. She smiled warmly at Ethan, and he felt a surge of relief and happiness. Seeing her safe and strong made all the effort worthwhile. Kalen motioned for them to join him in a nearby garden, a private space surrounded by alien flora that seemed almost alive. The air shimmered with soft colors, and small hovering lights danced between the plants, creating a peaceful atmosphere. Ethan followed, careful not to disturb Liara. As they settled on benches made of smooth stone, Kalen spoke again. "We are establishing a scholarship program," he said. "It will allow human teens across the galaxy to study, train, and develop their skills without limitations. It is inspired by you, Ethan. Your courage, your quick thinking, and your humility have reminded me that humans can achieve greatness when given the chance." Ethan blinked, almost unable to believe it. That's really happening?" he asked, his voice trembling with a mix of excitement and disbelief. Kalen nodded. "Yes, you will not only save one life, you will help countless humans reach their potential. This program will offer access to resources, training, and mentorship. It will be the first step in correcting the galaxy's misunderstanding about your species." Liara placed a gentle hand on Ethan's shoulder. "You have done more than you realize," she said. Her voice, calm and melodic, carried a quiet strength. "Not only did you save me and our child, but you have shown Kalen the value of humans. That is no small thing." Ethan smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest. He had never expected such recognition or influence. He had only wanted to help someone in need. Yet now he realized how one act of courage could create ripples far beyond his imagination. The next days passed quickly. Kalen personally oversaw the creation of the scholarship program, visiting colonies and speaking to human communities. Ethan accompanied him on some of these trips, amazed at the scale of the operation. Schools were being built, training facilities upgraded, and mentors assigned to promising teens. Everywhere they went, humans looked at Ethan with newfound respect, inspired by his story and his selfless request. Through it all, Ethan remained humble. He did not take credit for the work being done, instead emphasizing that it was a collective effort, a reminder that humans, when given the chance, could achieve remarkable things. Kalen observed him closely, learning from Ethan's humility and perspective. It was a lesson the wealthy alien had never expected to receive from a mere human. Liara's recovery continued smoothly. Her baby grew strong and healthy, monitored by advanced medical systems and the colony's skilled staff. She spent time with Ethan often, sharing meals and conversations that helped bridge the gap between their very different lives. She told him about her homeworld, about the customs and traditions of her people, and about the challenges of being part of a wealthy and powerful family. Ethan listened with fascination, asking questions that showed genuine interest and respect. One afternoon, Kaylin invited Ethan to a private audience. They sat in a large room filled with holographic displays showing colonies, schools, and training facilities. Kaylin's expression was serious, yet his eyes held warmth. "Ethan," he began, "you have changed my perspective in ways I never imagined. The scholarship program is only the beginning. I want to ensure that humans are recognized not just for bravery, but for intelligence, creativity, and compassion. Your actions prove that these qualities exist in abundance." Ethan nodded, absorbing the weight of the words. "I just wanted to help someone," he said quietly. "And in helping someone, you have helped millions," Kaylin replied. "You have reminded me that true value is not measured by wealth or power, but by courage, kindness, and action. You are extraordinary, Ethan, not because of your strength, but because of your heart." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. He had never received such praise before. It was not the admiration of peers or teachers, but recognition from someone who had the power to shape galaxies. It was a validation of all the small choices, the moments of fear and hesitation he had overcome. Days turned into weeks. Liara's baby was born under the careful watch of the colony's medical team. Ethan was present at the birth, standing quietly as the new life entered the world. He marveled at the small fingers, the delicate features, and the resilience of life. Kaylin watched from nearby, a mix of awe and gratitude in his gaze. He approached Ethan, his voice low and sincere. "You have saved more than one life. Ethan, you have saved a family, and in doing so, you have reminded me of the importance of every being in this galaxy." Ethan smiled softly, feeling a sense of fulfillment unlike anything he had known. He realized that courage and kindness were universal, transcending species, wealth, and status. In saving Liara and helping Kaylin see the value of humans, he had changed the course of many lives. The scholarship program flourished. Human teens, inspired by Ethan's story, began training and studying with determination. Some became explorers, engineers, and diplomats. Others excelled in combat and strategy, proving that humans could match or surpass their alien peers when given opportunity. Every success story traced back in some way to Ethan's single act of bravery and his selfless request. Months later, Kaylin invited Ethan and Liara to a formal ceremony. Dignitaries from multiple planets gathered to witness the unveiling of the first human scholarship graduates. Ethan, standing quietly at the front, watched as human teens accepted their awards, their faces bright with hope and pride. He felt a quiet joy in knowing that he had helped make this possible. Kaylin approached him afterward, his golden eyes glistening. "Ethan Miller today is not just a celebration of achievement. It is a celebration of humanity, courage, and the difference one individual can make. You have changed the perception of humans across the galaxy. For that, I'm forever grateful." Ethan shook his head, smiling humbly. "I didn't do it for recognition," he said. "I just wanted to help someone who needed it." Kaylin nodded, understanding the depth of Ethan's words. "And yet, by helping one, you have changed the lives of many. That is the mark of true greatness." As the ceremony concluded, Ethan looked at Liara's baby, cradled safely in her arms. He felt a profound connection to the life he had helped protect and the family he had touched. He realized that the universe was vast, filled with dangers, wonders, and beings of incredible power. Yet courage, compassion, and quick thinking could make a difference even when odds seemed impossible. Walking home that evening, Ethan felt the warm glow of accomplishment. The suns of Zerathia were setting, casting long shadows across the colony. He understood that his journey was only beginning, that the ripples of one act of bravery could spread farther than he could imagine, and in the quiet strength of humans and the courage of one teen, the galaxy had found a new reason to believe. Ethan smiled, thinking of the countless lives that would benefit from the scholarship program, the families saved and the bonds formed between species. He had stepped into a moment of danger without hesitation, and in doing so, had reshaped the future. He realized that being human was not a limitation. It was a source of strength, ingenuity, and hope. And somewhere, in the quiet moments of the galaxy, Kaylin Varix, the Tycoon whose life he had touched, would quietly remember the human teen who had saved his family and changed his world forever. Ethan looked up at the twin suns, feeling a warmth in his chest that had nothing to do with sunlight. He knew that courage, compassion,